what would you say are the challenges, and what are the things that you are doing to build that trust with your investors, so that they can invest in your projects?
One of the big things that you have to look for is if you want to raise money now, if you want to get into deals now, you should have been raising 2 years ago because ultimately you're investing with people that you like and trust.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sanjay Hegde from REI Secret Spilled, Fast Track to Riches, where we bring out all the truth that you want to know about the real estate industry, whether it is multifamily, senior housing, student housing, or even self-storage. So today I have with me Vlad Arakcheyev. I hope I said that right. And he is a Russian, and you can tell that by his name, and he speaks both Russian and English. He came to the United States when he was 12 years old. He's a graphic designer. He still is a graphic designer, but he did that as his W-2. When I think around the time he kind of felt like it's time to get rid of the W-2 and get what is called as time freedom, because he wants to spend more time with his family, because family comes first when it comes down to Vlad. So welcome, Vlad. We are super excited to have you on our podcast.
Thanks so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, guys.
So Vlad, I hear you come here. You moved to the United States when you were 12. So tell me, what were your challenges when you came here? Because I'm pretty sure when you move from another country, it comes with its own set of challenges. Very much like how when you moved from your W-2 to this one. So I think God put you in that place so that you could learn from that challenge so that you could face this challenge.
Yeah, it was completely crazy. I came here in 1993 as a small kid. I guess I was 12 years old, as a political refugee. It was just completely crazy. I We applied for political asylum in the United States and came here to JFK in New York City, JFK Airport, and I didn't know any English at all. I mean, zero. And a stewardess, actually, I remember this like yesterday. A stewardess asked me on a plane if I want fish or chicken, and I started crying because I thought she's gonna like kick me out of the plane or something like that. I was just so scared. So yeah, it took now fast forward, I've been in the United States for 31 years. I lived most of my life in Brooklyn for 26 years, and now I live in New Jersey. And most of it, I was a graphic designer. Yes, I was. But then during COVID, everything changed. I realized and a few things about passive income and consistent cash flow, not relying on W-2 for income. Resigned from my W-2 and dove full time into a full head into real estate. Yeah, so that's where I am now.
Lovely. Many of them everybody comes for various reasons. So was it more because of the COVID that made you think going into this is what you wanted to do? Had you started doing passive investment before you got into the COVID times?
Not at all. The only investments I've done before that was stock market. That's it. Nothing else. I didn't do, if you call it a passive investment, uh, just kind of an investment. So during COVID, I got furloughed. And first month or two, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go back to my job. And then I hear all these crazy stories where companies are folding and nobody's hiring. And I started thinking, oh my gosh, I needed to do something for money. And because I have a mortgage, my wife, two kids, I have three cats, and they're all hungry. A mortgage has to be paid, so I don't want to be relying on somebody else for money anymore. I have to change. And It's like Warren Buffett says, if you're relying on your W-2 for income, you're just one step away from being broke. And that's exactly what happened with me. Um, so my wife suggested I would become a real estate agent here in New Jersey, because if you think about it, people need to live somewhere, right? Doesn't matter what it is, COVID, not COVID, people have to buy, sell houses, they have to rent apartments. And I was really hesitant, and I said, sure. I still am a residential agent here in New Jersey, but I started going to networking events, and I started learning about flipping houses, and I've done a few, and wholesaling, I've done that too. Buying and holding single family, I purchased them successfully and exited. But then I realized it's got to be something out there. It's got to be bigger. What am I missing? So we went to this multifamily conference in Texas, in Houston, Texas, and I was just blown away by the people I met, and it was just eye-opening experience. And I thought, oh my gosh, multifamily, large commercial stuff, that's where I belong. And that's when my career took off.
Awesome, awesome. So I understand, like as I said, coming here as a 12-year-old, then it was a challenge learning a new language and a culture as such. Um, I'm pretty sure you must have had the same kind of challenge when you transitioned from being a graphic designer all the way doing some of the things that you talked about, the flips and things like that. I'm pretty sure you would have decided not to continue doing with flips for a reason, maybe because it's when with multifamily you have the scale that you have, right, and you can scale up much faster. But what was your challenges, if you don't mind me telling, about the transition?
Yeah, one of the big things that is of course the education, is the connection, and how are you going to do it? How can you buy a $10 million building? So it's a whole mind shift where it's not just you, it's the team that you have to rely on. When it comes to education, there's few things you can do. Yeah, you can go online, you can listen to Zoom calls or podcasts, you can do all of that. But I wanted to accelerate my education, and I got into mentorship. It's a paid mentorship, but then about 8 months later, I got into my first deal, and all because I believe in coaching and mentoring. Also, just think about this. I am in New Jersey, and my primary market is Midwest, a very select place in Midwest, then the Sun Belt, and now I buy in the Carolinas too. So how can I connect with people there if I don't know anybody and I'm here? So that's where the mentorship and the network comes in. So as you go to a networking conferences or speak within the community or the mastermind, this is why you make the connections. You learn about each other, partners, who does what, and you connect and you take down deals together. So it's three things. It's connections, partnerships, it's of course education. That's where the second part comes in. And of course you have to know what you're doing, because ultimately the investors have to trust in you, because when you're buying deals you have to uh you using their money, you're using your money and the bank, and you have all these things coming together. So yeah, it's a process.
Yeah, no, that's very well said, Vlad. But my question to you is, you mentioned a few things. You said networking. You mentioned about partners, and obviously you also mentioned about being a team sport and everything. So how do you pick your partners? What do you look
Yeah,
for?
you know what? Initially, I thought, you know what? I'm going to concentrate on finding a deal, because that's the most important, right? I mean, you have to get a deal. Everybody's like, oh, you find the deal, partners are going to come, the money is going to come, Absolutely not. That's such baloney. That's the furthest thing from the truth. Because first, you have to find your partners in the team. You have to know your market. You have to stick to a particular criteria and stick to that area. So find a team that you trust. Because if you think about it, if you're buying a deal, let's say for 5 years, would you really want to go into that deal with strangers? I don't think so. It's like a marriage. You have to get in with people that you know and like and trust. You're gonna see them on day-to-day basis. You're gonna make important decisions with those people. So it's really important to find the team first. That's one of the big things. Concentrate concentrate on what you can do. And another thing that comes from the team is this. Let's say, if you look at your liquidity and you cannot take down a deal of 100 units, then why would you be looking at deals that are over 100 units if you cannot take them down, right? That comes down to money, right? That comes down to equity, and just if you just can't handle that amount of units. So just stay in your lane, and that's based on a team. And if you know you can handle more, go for it. If you can't, then why would you waste your time? So team comes first. That's the most important thing. And what you have to look for is they have to almost be similar like you. In one respect is I like people that are very focused. They're not just trying real estate, but they're doing real estate. Like this is their passion. This is what they do. I want to be able to call my partner at 2 p.m. and I want them to pick up the phone. So that it's very important, in my opinion anyway. And also you have to have different skill sets when it comes to your partners. Like, for example, if somebody does marketing, you don't need another marketing person, right? If somebody does equity raising, yeah, or another person does asset management. Everybody has to have their own skill level. That's where the team comes in. Similar to like a basketball, right? You have a shooting guard, a point guard, a center. Everybody got their own responsibility. Same thing in real estate.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right when it comes down to that. Which brings me to the next question. What's your superpower?
You know what? At first I thought it would be asset management and deal finding, and I've done that. I found a few deals in my market in Missouri, and they've been going great. But right now, what I'm focusing on, since I am doing asset management and investor relations on few deals, I'm doing uh, equity raising, or I'm working with investors, and at the same time, I'm doing asset management. So those are the two things that I'm focusing on right now as of February of 2024. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, for those who want to, get into this equity raise and things like that, what would you say are the challenges, and what are the things that you are doing to, build that trust with your investors, so that they can invest in your projects?
One of the big things that you have to look for is if you want to raise money now, if you want to get into deals now, you should have been raising 2 years ago, because ultimately you're investing with people that you like and trust, right? So if you're gonna go to your friend, let's say, or even your neighbor and say, "Hey, listen, I have this deal and $50,000 to buy in," most likely they're not gonna invest with you. I mean, when I had my first raise, not a single person that I knew, my friends, did not invest with me, because they didn't know me. They thought I was like kidding or something like that. You have to really get into this and show them that you know what you're doing, right? It's the track record. It's the way you talk about deals, is the way you understand it, plus it takes time. So it's really important to, in my opinion, not to just ask for money and go after money, but build relationships. Ultimately, yeah, you can just say, hey, listen, this is my deal, and just blast it all over internet. And you might get one or two people, that might answer. But if it's a 506C, if it's a 506B for sophisticated investors, you can't even do that. So I believe it's all about relationships. And I actually done a video on my YouTube channel where I was talking about how to build relationships and how important it is to have relationships and do business with people that you like.
Lovely. Yeah, no, I completely, I can, connect and relate with you. So the best way to lose your friends is go ask money, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I got all kinds of crazy excuses. One guy said, he's my friend for like 20 years. He said, "Well, I don't have money now. I'm gonna open up a tire shop." And I'm like, dude, just say you don't want to invest with me. Don't give me an excuse of opening up a tire. What's a tire shop? What are you talking about? You don't know anything about tires. You never even talked one thing about a tire shop. So it's basically my goal is this. Risk is everywhere. My goal is to minimize the risk as much as possible. And number one thing for me is a lot of people don't know what's to come. They don't know what is the next step or how the investing process works. My goal is to guide them from beginning to end, to make it as easy as possible, to make it as comfortable as possible. And then they're going to see the potential. They're going to see the returns. They're going to see the tax savings, the benefits, true diversification, the whole everything. But number one thing that I've noticed is people are scared. People don't know. If you don't know, you're scared. Like, I'll give you an example. I got a whole life insurance policy. It took me a year to understand how it works and finally to get it, right? So I was on a call with this guy for, I think, like 6 times. 6 times it took me to just get into this, not counting emails and texts, on how the whole process works. So it's a relationship. It's you have to build it. So that's just kind of my perspective.
No, 100%. I'm in agreement with you, Vlad. So my question to you is, you mentioned that you have to build that relationship part of it. So what kind of process and systems have you put in place so that you are connected? And obviously, you'll be meeting somebody at a network event, but now you made some connection, but that one connection never helps, right? You got to connection is something that grows. So what
Yeah.
systems and processes have you put in place for that?
Yeah, one of the big things, of course, you have to follow up. You have to have a good CRM because you're not going to remember everything. So good CRM is really important. And I switched before I had one CRM is called Monday. I changed that to HubSpot. So right now I use HubSpot. I really like it. It's robust and it works for me, but for others it can be something else. It's just my preference. I don't need much. All I need is a nice reminder. I need to put notes in there, stuff like that. So it fits me, but it's really important to follow up. And it's one of my, I guess, a lot of people's issues where, you go to a networking event, you collect, let's say, 20 business cards, and where do they go? In your drawer. And then you don't hear from these people, you don't see them, you don't do anything. Well, it's really important. And listen, I'm not a pro when it comes to this. It's just I listen to the pros and I try to do what they do. So I literally just follow up. I give them a call. I say, hi, how's it going? And yeah, in many cases, what I noticed is that a lot of people just talk about work all the time or trying to pitch. I don't pitch. I don't. Because if the conversation doesn't go there naturally, I mean, it's not going to happen. Because if I'm speaking with a person and all I hear, for example, from them is, oh, the business is not going well, I'm struggling, we're cutting down our vacations, we're cutting down this. I'm not going to be like, hey, listen, I have this great deal, why don't you invest 50,000 into it? They're going to be like, what are you talking about? I don't have any money. Come on, it's silly. So it's just, you have to ask the right questions. It's really, it's all about a conversation. So just pay attention to what you say and what the other person says. That's the most important.
Absolutely. Very valid points over there, Vlad. So, buying the closing on a property is just the tip of the iceberg, right? The fun starts after you have adjusted, because now you have to put the business plan that you had set together into and bring it to fruition. And during that time, there are a lot of challenges that happens, especially given the situation when right after COVID, there were challenges getting the doors on time, the appliances on time, and getting the right kind of schemes and everything. That was one part of it. There were certain parts when things would have had gone where, hey, the capex were probably getting used in some other place instead of this. So challenges are always there. So tell me any challenge, that one thing that was something that was very hard for you, and how did you got over it?
Yeah, one of the big things is that, of course, challenges is the major thing because it you can try to predict it, but if you look at the perfect storm, you have this rates going up like crazy. I mean, it's really unprecedented, going from 3% to what, 9 or 8 or something like that. I mean, it's just a short period of time. Then you have this uh, rent issue. I mean, there's just so many. All you have to do is you have to buy right. A lot of people are sitting on the sidelines. It's fine, that's what they're comfortable with. But I believe you have to buy in every market cycle, but don't buy the same way. You have to shift. So if you're buying, if you look at the market cycle and like right now we're in a recession, you just have to change a lane, almost like driving on a highway. Change a lane, slow down, and keep on going. For example, the team that I know purchased 8 deals 2 years ago, but last year only 4. So they were still in the game, right? It's just not a lot of deals were penciling. And I'll give you another example that one of the deals that was purchased, uh, 7 offers was given, 7, and it took like 9 months to buy. So yes, stuff takes longer, but at the same time, you have to know how to buy in each market cycle and be active in it. So that's one of the biggest challenges, because you can't just be like, oh yeah, we're going to put this amount of down and this is our equity and this is the loan. No, loans changed, rules have changed, everything changed, right? So equity is difficult to come by. So you have to maybe use creative ways to buy, like loan assumptions. Right now we're working on a loan assumption deal. So it's really adjusting with the flow, adjusting with the cycle, maybe using a master lease option or some sort of a subject to deal or something like that, using creative ways to uh, close on a deal. So it's really, that's where the team comes in, right? You have to put the heads together and really figure out how to make the deal work.
Absolutely, Vlad. So, that brings us to the next one, which is the mindset. Like, having a very positive mindset is so important because, as you mentioned, like last year, the previous year, people would have closed on 8 properties. Then it comes down to 4 properties. In fact, I closed in on only one property because none of the others, we looked at many properties, but none of them made sense to us in terms of the numbers. And we are very conservative. We don't like to make the numbers work, but the numbers have to work by itself, right? So that was one part of it. But at that time, one thing that is sure is that you want to keep your positive attitude up and energy up. So what do you do to keep your energy up?
Yeah, you know what? It's actually one of the most difficult things if you think about it. Having a positive outlook and just keep on driving, keep on grinding, it's difficult. I'll give you an example. Last year, 2023, we have underwritten over 280 deals and bought 4. So you see what type of numbers, and those out of 4, the 2 other ones we just partnered with somebody. So it's really difficult. The deals are very hard to come by. So it's important to keep the energy up and keep driving forward, because you have to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So what I do personally, I meditate, I exercise, I'm very bullish on. I read this book. I'm sure a lot of you did by Hal Elrod, The Miracle Morning. So I follow that. I focus on gratitude, on what's going to happen. Also, I listen to Joe Dispenza. I like having good energy, positive energy, not dwell on the past, but look towards the future. And also, I read this great book by what's his name? Dan Sullivan. It's and Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan. 10x easier than 2x. So I got rid of 80% of stuff that's just keeping me busy for the sake of being busy, and focusing on 20% of what's going to take me to the next level. So really just focusing and just grinding it out. That's all there is. And one thing is the back of my mind: for every yes, for every no that I get, I'm a step closer to a yes.
Yeah, no, it's usually 20% of what you really do gives you 80% of your results, right?
Exactly.
So that's why you have to hone in onto that 20% that actually is, and try to get rid of the remaining, things that is more like a clutter kind of a
Yeah,
thing. So I
that's
understand
exactly.
exactly what you're coming from. So that's great that you do meditation, read books, but obviously, which is a good thing that you like to read books. So what is the most um, which would be that book that has influenced you the most, and why?
One of the big things that I've, it's a question when it comes to what stage of where you are now. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. In the beginning, when I started multifamily, one of the best books that I read and I still recommend to people is Real Estate Raw by Bill Ham, and also Hands Off Investor by Brian Burke. So those I was focusing on because I wanted to learn more about multifamily process and how investing works, syndications, creative strategies, stuff like that. Now, as I know them and I'm further down the road, I'm more working on myself. I'm working on my mindset. I'm working on my well-being, on being positive, on just knowing where I'm going here. So I started reading books about meditation and health and fitness and just being positive because I'm in a different stage now. So my ultimate goal is I'm working from my ultimate goal backwards. That's where I am, right? A lot of people like, I'm looking to make as many sales as possible this year. I'm like, what does that mean? What's many sales? Is that 5, 10, 100? So you have to have a number that you're working from. So my ultimate goal is to open up an animal sanctuary, right? And
Okay.
a rescue farm in New Jersey. So I know where I need to be in order to open that animal sanctuary. So I'm working backwards from 3 years from now. That's when the sanctuary is going to open to now. And what do I have to do now to make it happen? So right now I'm working on mindset. I'm working, like I said, the miracle morning where I have a routine, a special a routine that I get up, I do my meditation, I focus on positivity, I do my exercising, I have my family time, then I do my prospecting, calling, what I have to do. So it's really important to just keep focused. Don't just, I actually, I saw this post today on Facebook, literally today. One guy goes like this. He showed his iPhone and it has like 10 alarms, like 7:05, 7:10, 7:15, 7:20. And he goes, how many alarms do you have? I'm like, I don't even have an alarm. I set my mind to get up at 6 a.m. Some people get up at 3, whatever. I get up at 6 and I don't need an alarm. I just get up, right? I don't have a snooze button. It's just, you have to program yourself. So it's funny that I was laughing just about it. The guy has like 8 alarms and the alarm blasts every 5 minutes so he can just finally get up. No, just get up. Come on, do the stuff. Look forward to the day. So that's what I kind of focus on now.
That was funny. So, Vlad, first of all, yeah, if someone wants to get a hold of you, Vlad, and you talked about your YouTube and things. So, how can somebody reach you? That's number one. How can they go to your YouTube channel? Do you have a name for the YouTube channel?
I actually do, yeah. So I mean, I'm all over social media, right? I have a unique name, Vlad Arakcheyev. I'm on Facebook. I am on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. But when it comes to YouTube channel, I actually have I like motorcycles, right? So instead of me doing something about like real estate and stuff like that, I decided to combine together real estate and motorcycles. So I called it Wheels and Real Estate Deals. I know it's
Oh,
silly,
that's
but
cool. That's a nice.
it's cool, right? So every time I go to like a networking event or something like that, or let's see a property or go for a flip or something like that, and I ride my bike as long as it's above 40 degrees Fahrenheit and it's not raining, I kind of do a video about my motorcycle and how I got there, or like if I go to a mountain and I see some really nice scenery, I do like for example, I say, oh well, it took me so and so to get here, and by the way, look at the area here. I'm sure the property value goes up. So I kind of combine two of my passions, real estate and motorcycles, together. So yeah, you can check out my YouTube channel as well. It's wheels and real estate deals with Vlad Arakcheyev. But connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm very happy to answer any questions and help with anything I can. It's just, I'm always out there to help as many people as I can to achieve their dreams.
Thank you, Vlad. I really appreciate you getting on our podcast and passing on your wisdom and talking about your mindset and how you made it successful in the real estate market. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.